Are you a thoughtful leader? Maybe you are. Maybe you think you are. Let's find out. I'm Mindy Gibbins-Klein. I'm author of The Thoughtful Leader and host of the Thoughtful Leader podcast. Thoughtful leadership is all about thought leadership that goes above and beyond. Thought leadership that is truly new and original, exciting, disruptive, maybe even groundbreaking. Because let's face it, we need to raise the bar. My guests and I are absolutely obsessed with finding truly original thought leadership, and I'm going to bring you so many exciting ideas and opportunities, things for you to think about, and chances for you to push your thinking that you'll be very glad you tuned in. So thanks so much for checking out Thoughtful Leadership and the Thoughtful Leader podcast. I look forward to connecting with you very, very soon. Write to your heart's content. Speak to your heart's content. Do anything to your heart's content. It's an expression. It's pretty famous, I think. I found myself using it the other day. And this may not surprise you if you've got to know me over the past few months or years. But I started thinking about the words. And I started thinking about being content. And every time I looked at it, I saw content. And I came up with 3 different angles on this. And so, of course, I just have to share this with you because you're a thoughtful leader. And I just know that you want to be thinking more creatively about the words you use. You do, don't you? So the first definition or the first meaning is as much as you like. Do it to your heart's content. Eat to your heart's content. I think I was joking with somebody and I said they could steal some web copy to their heart's content. It means as much as you like. And that's kind of fun. It kind of reminds me of these restaurants where you pay one price and you can eat as much as you like. And here in the UK, by the way, eat as much as you like or something like that. But in America, I find it very funny that it's called all you can eat. All you can eat is like a challenge, but I digress. So to your heart's content is something that many English people and English speakers will say. But then as I looked at it, I thought, heart's content, isn't that great if your heart is content? And we've got some special effects here. I'm getting messages. I'm going to keep going. You know, if your heart is content, what does that mean? Well, that means you're at peace. That means that you're probably living in alignment with your values. It means lots of things. Think about what it means for you if your heart is content. Isn't that kind of the goal? I mean, who would want to be living in a state of constant discontent? Nobody. Well, unfortunately, that's what happens. And although some great literature and poetry and music is created when people are not content, in fact, they're filled with angst and other very dramatic emotions, then that, maybe it results in a creative project or something like that. I've been there. I've written poetry and music and probably quite a few letters, some of which I never sent when I was in various emotional states. But if your heart is content, then I think you can do a lot more. I believe that if you're starting from that place and you know that you're content, you're at peace, you're relaxed, you can be in flow and your words will flow. And if you want to be writing and speaking, well, it's a very good idea if your words flow, right? But I'm laughing because over the past few weeks, I have not been in flow 100% of the time. And there were various things. I was blaming it on drinking too much coffee. I was blaming it on things that are going on in my life. And then I realized that I wasn't practicing what I preach. which is being aware of and managing my state. And my emotional state is at the foundation of everything. If you've read The Thoughtful Leader or listened to it, you'll know how much I believe your state and your strength is the foundation for everything you do. And if you lead other people, it's really the place where you need to focus first. You need to make sure that you're strong and well and content. Well, actually, as I said it, I was thinking, well, content might sound a bit like you're settling. And that is not what we thoughtful leaders do. But if you actually are content, is there anything wrong with that? I used to teach goal setting, as you may know. And I think that it's very interesting when you set a lot of goals for the future, because many people think that you have to start from a place of not being content, because obviously you want more. You want to achieve more, be more, do more, see more, travel more, or maybe that's just me. But you can be content with what you have and what you've achieved, and you can strive for more or simply picture more in your future. You don't have to strive. And it's a very interesting energy when people are constantly grasping and desperate to achieve their goals. I think things are shifting a lot. What I see nowadays is I do see certain people who work, and are extremely dedicated and determined to achieve their goals, which is great. I also see a lot of people who care about balance, life balance. It used to be called work-life balance. Call it what you want. But that term doesn't always imply racing towards your goals and sort of staying up all day and all night and burning yourself out. If you're content and you don't really have big goals and you're not constantly striving for the next thing, I guess that's fine if you really are happy or content. Right, that's enough on that, because there's the final meaning or definition, which is, to me, the most important. And when I look at this phrase, heart's content or heart's content, it reminds me that the best kind of writing and the best kind of speaking, live speaking, keynote speeches, videos, however you communicate, the best kind is the kind that comes from the heart. You know this. You already know this. I'm here to remind you that if you are speaking and writing from the heart, it will touch someone else's heart. And I've spent a lot of time over the years doing marketing type jobs, and I guess I'm still in marketing. My work is all about helping people market themselves. But one of the areas that I've started to look at in great detail is this idea of the ideal client or the client avatar, and obsessing with that avatar or profile to the point where you end up people pleasing. You end up planning and writing for and speaking for that person or someone who looks and sounds like them. This is a big departure for me, and this is my cutting edge stuff. And so far, I've only worked with one client on this, and she loves it because she said it was very refreshing not to have to figure out that ideal client. We did take a good look at it, but not to force her book. We were working on a book, of course, not to force it into some format that would fit for that. So let me give you another example. If you do a lot of market surveys and polls and you focus groups and research in general, you can find out what it is that people want, and you can provide that. And there are certainly a lot of service providers who will say, find out what people want and give it to them. But you see, thoughtful leadership is slightly different because we're not some commodity. Our thoughts and ideas are not supposed to be shaped and sent out so that they're in the perfect shape and format for someone else's expectations. You know, the famous story is if people had been asked what they wanted, Henry Ford would have created a better horseless carriage. Actually, that's not how the story goes, is it? They would have created a better carriage with a horse. People didn't understand. They can't even see what they don't see. And this is the same for your ideas. Your best insights are going to come from your heart. There's a reason why you're passionate about certain things. There's a reason why certain insights and ideas have come to your awareness. Won't get too spiritual now, but you may believe that there are things you don't understand, and you may believe in channeling, but this is a very simple version of it. If you wake up and you have an idea, or if you're driving or in the shower or some other inconvenient place, like it usually happens to me, and you have an unexpected idea, a creative idea, or this idea that you've been thinking about or maybe working on and sharing, that your thought leading idea, yeah, this is not something that you want to shape and mold necessarily to fit what people want or think they want. Because the cutting edge, the leading edge, the truly thought-leading, groundbreaking, truly original, exciting, new, disruptive ideas are not in people's consciousness. They're not on their radar, and they're not on their wish list. So what choices have you got? You can't do a focus group and say, would you like a horseless carriage? They can't picture it. What you can do instead is go into your heart. And I'm telling you, it's perfectly okay. If you want validation, here you go. It's validated. And decide how you are going to share what you want to share in the way you want to share it. I'm still playing with this idea, and I enjoy doing these episodes where I can share my latest thinking with you. Because if something isn't working, we really need to take a look at shifting it or choosing something else. And I'm choosing to look at thought leadership and thoughtful leadership in a different way. I might completely get rid of terms like ideal client, ideal reader, avatar, if they're not serving. Now, of course, many people want to try to predict or forecast how much money they can make, and, Excel and other planning software, they don't really have a space for, your imagination and things that have not yet been invented or created. I'm trying to picture a piece of software. Actually, probably AI can predict, but that's for another episode. Right now, I just really wanted to share these thoughts with you so that you can do all three things that I've been talking about. First of all, you can write and speak to your heart's content. You can speak as much as you want, and you can actually explore and discover and develop your thinking as you're speaking. I don't tend to do that. It might sound like I am, but I never do an episode without planning at least a certain amount. But you want it to sound natural, right? I hope I'm doing a good job. If so, by the way, we need more reviews on the podcast. Please review the podcast wherever you listen to it. So the second thing that we spoke about, of course, is being content. It's a time for you to reflect. The thoughtful leader is always doing a lot of reflection. Are you content with some or more or all aspects of your life and business? And it's okay to be content or to be happy and not continuously feel disappointed, frustrated, that sense of lack, and like you have a hole to fill all the time. Maybe look for the areas where you are quite happy. Focus on that in your meditations and your morning walks and anytime you can. And that can round out the kind of ambitious goal setting part of you that I know is also there. So I'm saying your heart's content, if it is, congratulations. And you will be much more productive and creative from that space when you write and speak from that space. And that's related to the third point that we spoke about, I spoke about, and hopefully you were listening, which is your heart's content. And your content, you may know I don't love that word, but it's perfect in this case because it's not just content. It's not just, like I'm fond of saying, the Yellow Pages has content, or Wikipedia or Google, right? There's content that's not necessarily valuable, but your heart's content, the content that is in your heart and that comes from your heart, that's very valuable. And when you put these things together and you choose to write from that space and not always try to please and fit the expectation of someone who might or might not be your client, might or might not appreciate your content or you. When you allow yourself to share what you want to share, what you're passionate about, and share it the way you want to share it, it is magical. And I do believe that even though I've just started looking at things in this way, I think it's been brewing for a while, because I have a long list of things I don't want to do, publications I don't want to write for, businesses I don't need to be involved in, and many other things. And it is very liberating to only do what you want to do, what you're passionate about. There is a way to be successful doing that. If you ever want to chat about these things, because I know sometimes I get comments like, it's all very well, Mindy, it's easy for you to say. It's not easy. Well, it's easy for me to say, but it's not easy for me to do these things. I have set up my life and I've constantly been evolving the way I work with clients, the way I show up in the market, the way I talk to you. You may notice a difference from the first episode till now, I hope. I mean, we're all evolving. It's a question of being open to that evolving and being open to learning and admitting that maybe there's a better way to show up. So these are my thoughts for you today about your heart's content or your heart's content. And I would welcome your thoughts. As always, we're going together on this journey, and for some reason we've been put together, so we may as well learn from each other. We may as well support each other and be there for each other. So I applaud you for being willing to listen to these ideas, consider them, reflect, and choose how you would like to live going forward. Thank you for being a thoughtful leader, and may you enjoy life to your heart's content. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Thoughtful Leader, and I hope it's inspired you to be more thoughtful as a leader in your business. Please consider subscribing and leaving a review. An important question for you. Do you want to create a culture of thought leadership in your organization? My best-selling book, The Thoughtful Leader, is available now on Amazon and many other sites in paperback, ebook, and audiobook formats. Please visit www.mindygk.com for more great content. That's www.mindygk.com. Speak to you again soon.